Hi, folks.
Now you are.
Pardon me?
Hey, Steve, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear
So
me?
did you ever get another a vote thing back for AMC? Because I did not.
You know what back?
Remember when we voted, we're having problems voting at our AMC District 1 meeting?
Yeah,
Did you get they were gonna send us a vote.
you know,
I never got it.
I
But
can't
mine
remember.
functioned, mine worked, but
I thought we got one right. I don't remember what we were even voting on.
it would have been the 22nd.
What were we voting on?
The,
Or
the priorities, yeah, priorities, but we can only vote on 4.
right,
And then when we did the way they set it up, you had to vote 5 to advance. So mine worked, but I voted 5 in each grouping. And so that was one problem. And then other people couldn't get theirs to work, so they were gonna send.
right.
And I never did get I never got anything from them. Unless I missed it in an AMC update, but I looked at all those.
It was the 22nd, right?
We had our meeting on the 22nd, so the follow-up would have been after.
No.
I didn't either. Oh, wait a minute. Is Erdman the guy? Maybe.
Yeah,
Here we go. As promised, here's a survey monkey to choose your top 5. He sent out a survey monkey. Maybe I did it and I just don't remember.
do you want to report on that? On the AMC meeting?
What's that? You're gonna report on that, aren't you? Or you want me to?
You want to?
I don't care.
I talk enough during the meeting.
Yeah, I can do it. There really wasn't. I gotta see if I can, my priorities. Yeah, I did. I took good notes. Well, the problem is I wrote down the ones that I favored. Oh, not really, because you brought up the CWD carcasses. I have that in my notes. Remember when you asked in environmental?
Yeah,
Yeah. I think we had a good general consensus on everything anyway, don't you think?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so. There wasn't any earth-shattering stuff to talk about.
I don't want to misinform, but I think I wrote down what people, such a good group.
Yeah,
I'll be able to remember it by the time we get there.
right. Sometimes those meetings that happened a week and a half ago seem like they happened a month ago.
Oh, it's like, I know, it's been a busy stretch here for lots of stuff. Well, do we have any contracts out there? Everybody's done, isn't it? I think. Labor agreements? Yeah.
We have,
I thought the big ones are done.
yeah, we have on the agenda today, Health and Human Services.
Hi Barb, are you on?
I'm on from CMJTS. This is Trisha.
Hi Tricia,
How are you, Steve?
I'm good.
Good.
Do you, we've got you on the agenda. We got our normal, business, take care of the consent agenda, and then we got a small public hearing, and then you're on our
Okay.
second on our regular agenda, so it'll be fairly quick.
Sounds good.
You'll just have to listen to a lot of roll call votes to get the minutes and all that pass, but
Easy enough for my end.
yeah. Looks like a gorgeous day, huh?
Yeah, take these extra fall days when we can get them, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, we suffered there for a little while. Wow, it was miserable.
Taste of what's to come.
Yes, I'm afraid so. Did you vote yet, Trish?
I did the mail-in and I tracked it. It's there and counted already, so.
Okay. I voted at the courthouse a couple weeks ago. And my wife voted in our township here about an hour ago. And she said there was when she got there, the door just shut and somebody came out and said the line at poll open was like way out into the parking lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my husband waited till today and I said, you might be sorry, you're gonna be standing in line, but.
Well, I'm thinking half the people in Pine County already voted. So there
Wow.
might be a spurt, after work and before work, but otherwise, theoretically, there shouldn't be much activity.
That's pretty good to already have half of the vote in.
Yeah,
Are you up, Steve?
no, I'm not.
Okay.
No. We've got 2 commissioners that are up.
Okay.
Me, I am.
You are.
Steve Chafee is.
Okay. Good luck, Steve.
How long do we stay attached to that? A year? The canvassing?
What?
I was just gonna say, good morning, Debbie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Hey, Ryan. Is Ryan there?
He's on the call, but he might have stepped away. He's
Oh, okay.
remote today.
If I'm in a meeting and I get a call on my cell phone, it like overrides what I got going on. I can't, till I, can get to my phone and shut it off. And he told me I can change something in settings, but I can't.
I would like
I've changed everything and it still doesn't.
Thursday. Wednesday.
Yeah,
So if you want to limit all incoming stuff on your phone, you can put it in airplane mode.
I'll try that today.
Just don't forget you put it on.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I put it on silent and then
That's what I
I
know.
find my phone and have Becky call it and
That's what happens
it
to me
doesn't make
too.
any noise.
I did the same thing a couple days ago. My wife says, I think I hear it buzzing. You hear it buzzing?
Yeah, and when you can't hear it, it's kind of hard to hear it buzzing.
And Steve, I know you can't see, so I will introduce our on-site tech wizard is Nick today.
All right, Nick. Nick, here's my problem. When I'm having a Zoom or a WebEx call and I get a call on my cell phone, it overrides my call and says incoming call and cuts the audio off.
Okay.
So somebody said just put it in airplane mode and then remember to take it off airplane mode.
Yeah, that'd be about the thing that I can think of, or there, if you, in the same settings area, there's a do not disturb, I think. Should have that. You can try that out.
Oh, okay.
Is the telephone caller Commissioner Steve Chafee?
That
I
it is.
heard,
How are you?
I heard Steve.
Good morning.
Morning. How's everybody?
Oh, Steve's here.
That's the warning bell. The cuckoo clock is the warning bell, and now the grandfather clock should go off here in another minute. Some other clock's going. I didn't realize we had this many clocks in the house till I started having meetings.
Is Commissioner Moore here today?
Not yet. There he is.
There he is.
Coming in at the wire.
And then, is that Caleb or is that Kelly who's coming in as Caleb?
It's Caleb.
All right, Caleb. Okay, we had the warning bell and then we had the get ready bell. And now it's going to be 10 o'clock here in a second. Right now it is. So I'm going to read a little thing here. You've probably heard this before, most of you. The meeting will be, welcome to the November 3rd meeting. And the meeting is held in person via WebEx, phone conference, and streamed live on the internet. No more than 2 county commissioners will be present in the meeting room. The public may join the meeting via WebEx in person at the meeting room or watch the live stream. If joining the meeting in person, the total number of persons, including commissioners, cannot exceed 10, and social distancing of at least 6 feet will be in effect. The governor of the state of Minnesota has issued Executive Order 20-01, declaring a peacetime emergency and coordinating Minnesota strategy to protect Minnesotans from COVID-19. On March 24th, 2020, the Pine County Board of Commissioners declared a local emergency for Pine County. Based on these conditions, the chair of the Pine County Board of Commissioners has determined that the requirements of Minnesota Statute 13D.021, Subdivision 1 have been met, and it is not practical or prudent for all members of the county board to meet in person. So with that, we will call the meeting to order and we will rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we do have public forum. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak at public forum?
Mr. Chair, there's no public present in the meeting room.
Okay,
If I could make a comment on election day voting procedures,
Yes.
if that's appropriate.
yes, it is.
So just to remind everyone, if you hadn't known, today is election day. And to vote in Minnesota, you must be a U.S. citizen, 18 years or older, and a resident of Minnesota for 20 days and finished with all parts of any felony sentence. Polls are open today until 8 p.m. and any voter in line at 8 p.m. gets to vote. If you're not sure where to vote, you can go to mnvotes.org. You can also register to vote today at your polling location. And to register, you just need a current ID with your correct address. And if you have moved, if you have your ID along with a document like a utility bill to show your current address, you can register. There are 20 jurisdictions in Pine County that are mail-only districts. Voters in those districts can turn their ballots into the county auditor's office at the courthouse or drop it in the drop box at the courthouse until 8 p.m. tonight. Those voters can also register to vote and vote in person at the courthouse until 8 p.m. If they would like to do that. Regular absentee voters, and so these are people who requested an absentee ballot but do not live in a mail-only district. These are the ballots that were impacted by the court decision of the 8th Circuit last week. Absentee ballots have to be turned in by 3 p.m. today to the county auditor's office or to the drop box at the courthouse. And if you have not turned in your absentee ballot and you cannot make it to the county auditor's office at the courthouse, you can still vote at your local polling place. And that is open, and those are open until 8 p.m. And in both cases, whether it's a mail-in only district or an absentee, you can have an agent deliver your vote, your ballot to the auditor's office. And if you want to vote today, but you feel sick, you should call your city or your township, and you can arrange to vote curbside so that you do not need to go into the polling place. And if you have any questions at all on voting, you can call the county auditor's office, 320-591-1670.
Thank you. Any questions on that?
Mr. Chair, I got one quick question for Dave.
Yeah.
So what if you're a registered voter and you moved but haven't changed your address yet? Is that still kind of follow you, or does it
Well,
you have to re-register?
Depends, did you move within your precinct or outside of your precinct?
This
And
particular
so-
one was outside. Yeah.
So then you would need to re-register, I believe, but you can do that today at your local polling place. And if your identification, like your driver's license, does not have your current address, you just need to bring along paperwork that shows you have received mail at your new address.
Okay. I just had that question by like 2 or 3 people this morning, so I just thought it was kind of interesting. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Or, David, if I'm not mistaken, you could have a person that's a registered voter in that precinct vouch, like, this is my neighbor.
Yes,
David,
yes,
and
there
he
is a
moved
process.
here in August, and I know he lives there, you know.
Yep, there is a process to have a registered voter vouch for you at the polling place. And then the 20-day residency requirement applies to Minnesota residency, not your polling jurisdiction residency.
But you can only vote once.
Yes.
Okay. We'll move on to the agenda. Is there any additions, corrections to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, a couple of corrections and clarifications on the consent agenda number 4B, Roman numeral small I. If we can remove the contingency for eligibility worker Denise Blesley, as that background check has been completed. And then on small Roman numeral number 2 in that same area, we had a typo on the part-time correction officer. It should be Timmy McKellar, and the packet materials had the correct name, but the agenda had the last name spelled incorrectly.
Okay.
And then on number 5 on the regular agenda, there was a levy chart included that listed the change in the levy. that actually just repeated, it was just a typo where it repeated the same column. I assume people picked up on that.
Yes.
And then, on upcoming meetings, the November 4th Facility Committee meeting has been canceled.
And I noticed on the upcoming meetings, we have two canvassing boards. One, didn't I read that on there?
Yes.
The canvassing board on November 6th has been changed to November 12th, correct?
I don't have that. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know that for sure. But we will find that out.
Okay. No other changes. I'd be looking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Ludwig will move it as amended.
Morrow second.
Got a motion by Ludwig, seconded by Moore to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 4, Commissioner McRae.
Aye.
5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Shafee.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, that passes. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes of the October 20th, 2020 County Board minutes and summary for publication.
McRae will move.
Chafee second.
Got a motion by McRae, second by Chafee. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye. Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
District 3, Commissioner Shafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner McRae.
Aye.
And then we will move to the minutes of the board's reports and correspondence. We've got a Pine County Surveyor's report of, from October, and a Northern Natural Gas Air Permit in Hinckley, a correspondence from them. We need approval for that.
Morrow move that.
Chafee will second it, but could maybe somebody talk a little bit about this Northern Natural Gas Air Permit? I've gotten correspondence from them, but I'm not really familiar with what this is. David, maybe you or Caleb or somebody could address it. Be interesting to know.
Yeah, Commissioner Chafee, this is David. I don't have any additional information than is in the notice put in the packet, that there is a public input process. But I can do some research and get back with you.
Thanks, David. I'd appreciate that.
Any other questions? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
District 3, Commissioner Shafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner McRae.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then we'll move to the consent agenda. Couple small changes that were made.
Ludwig will move.
McRae will second.
Got a motion by Ludwig, second by McRae. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Shafi.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Sheriff Allen.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. That passes, and we'll move on to the regular agenda, which is a public hearing for county zoning ordinance amendment 2020-70 to consider zoning map for Carrick Township and zoning amendment for the city of Denham. And staff will make a presentation at this time. Is that you, Caleb?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, members of the board, we've seen things like this. The way the county zoning ordinance is established is that townships and cities have the opportunity to pass a resolution and opt in to county administered zoning and our zoning ordinance. So recently, I worked with Carrick Township over the summer, and they passed such resolution opting in. We worked together on populating a zoning map that is provided with the ordinance. So it's a simple ordinance amendments just to kind of to bring them out under county administered zoning. And then also in working through administration of some zoning issues in Denham, we've discovered that maybe it would be beneficial to have their zoning map shown a little differently. So we worked through that with the zoning board and the city council for Denham, and we have an amendment to the zoning map, changing some portions from agricultural to rural town site. On the Carrick Township zoning map, Duquette is not a incorporated city. It's just part of Carrick Township, but the scale, there's some smaller parcels. So on that zoning map, we kind of just had a little pop out area of Duquette to show how that would be zoned. So that is all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Anybody have any questions for Caleb? Are there some people from the township that wish to say anything? No questions from the board. We'll open up the public comment part of the public hearing. So if there's somebody from the public that wishes to speak on this, now's your time.
And Mr. Chair, I know we have Cindy Darwin from Carrick Township. It looks like she is maybe trying to talk and is still muted.
Cindy, I see you, but I'm not hearing you.
Cindy, you're muted.
Ryan, can you unmute her? There she
Okay.
is. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I'm just here from the clerk from the township. I just wanted to listen in to see if there was any input from townspeople that came to, if they had any concerns. So, and for that reason.
Okay, all right. I'm assuming that if you did have concerns from citizens, that they got those concerns, questions answered during your discussions about it, so.
Well, we didn't have anybody attend our town
Okay.
board meeting either with concerns, so maybe there are no concerns.
Well, that's the way we like it sometimes, but.
Yeah, that's right.
We do like to make sure anybody that has concerns have the opportunity, so. Is there anybody else? If not, we'll close the public comment part and see if the board has any questions.
Commissioner Holland, I'll just add, there are no public in attendance at the meeting room.
Okay. If we have no other questions,
Mr. Chair, I got one quick one.
yeah,
So when I look at this, it says we got Nickerson Township, City of Carrick, City of Denham, New Dozy, and Carrick Township. Is that everybody that's opted into the county zoning so far?
Correct.
Okay. Are you working with anybody else or not really? And you
No,
don't have to say, but nobody else currently is looking at it? Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
okay. If no other questions, we will look for an adoption of the county ordinance 2020-70.
Ludwig will move that, amending the Pine County zoning ordinance and rescinding all existing land use and zoning ordinance and amendments for Carrick Township, and also amending the City of Denham.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
McRow, second.
Had a motion by Ludwig, seconded by Mickret. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Mickert.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Hi.
Thank you.
Okay, that passes. And that brings us to Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services. And I see a few people from that organization here. Who's going to start? Barb?
I will.
All
Mr.
right.
Chair and members of the board, good morning on this election day. My name is Barb Chafee and I'm the CEO of Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Services. And we serve 11 counties, including Pine County. The year 2020 marks our 36th year of service in partnership with Workforce Development in Pine County. And so we're really proud of that. But at the same time, 2020 also marked a very, very challenging year with many changes because of COVID-19. So my staff are at home doing virtual services to our clients, and we just opened by appointment only, and we also have curbside up here in the northern part of our state, and that is working very well. Our agenda, first of all, do we have access to our agenda? Is somebody going to put that up on the screen? Hearing nothing. Steve? Or
Yeah.
Commissioner, are we going to put the PowerPoint up on the screen? Do you know if anybody's going to do that?
I can probably find it and get it up.
Perfect. What I'll do is
We do
I
have a
will,
copy. I believe we all have a copy of it. I've got one anyway.
okay. If I will keep on talking and
Okay.
if it can get up on the screen, that would be great. Our agenda is really twofold this morning, and that is the first part is our business, and that's because I have to bring the annual fiscal audit to you. And then there is a performance report that is in your packet. But the most important thing this morning is to have my staff tell you what is happening right here in Pine County and to focus on programs and services. Oh, perfect. So you can go to the next one, the next slide, and that's our agenda. And then you can go to the next slide. And our board, Joint Powers Board, has 11 county commissioners, but I'm going to focus only on one. So I'm going to go to the next slide and focus on Pine County Commissioner Steve Hallen, who has been on our board for 7 years, but actually more than that, because he served as an alternate. When Commissioner Doug Carlson was out ill, he would come and be an alternate in his place. So actually, Steve has been on our board for about 10 years, and I have to thank you, Mr. Chair, for your leadership on our board and also for your great support of my staff and myself. We appreciate that. Next slide. These are our 14 areas, and I just want to focus on the 2 that are in Pine County, and that's Pine City and Sandstone. And last spring, we were going to have this awesome, spring open house for the community and for partners, Rebecca Foss and her staff and my staff. And it didn't transpire, but we're hoping that maybe this spring we'll be able, next spring in 2021, if things settle down, we will have late spring or early summer, we'll have an open house. Next slide. This is the end report, and I'm going to go to the next slide because you can read that as your reading pleasure. The most important part of our presentation today is going to be done by my staff. And we're going to start with Tricia Begawat, who's going to bring you the business part of it because she's my finance director, followed by Dina Warnes, Diane Ristamaki, who is in this region and serves a 5-county area, and then Leslie Witowitz. They're going to not only introduce themselves, but they're going to introduce their titles, and they're also going to introduce which programs and services they have. So I'm going to go to the next slide and turn it over to Tricia. I did see that she was having a little bit of a struggle, but I'm hoping that she's on.
I'm here. My video isn't working for some reason, but I'm here. I even put a nice shirt on today and a necklace, so I'm kind of disappointed that my video isn't working. But I'm here to share our annual fiscal audit. This is for our fiscal year ending June 30th of 2019. So we did just conclude the on-site review of fiscal year 2020. So that will be coming out to you next. But as we looked at our fiscal audit, same things that they look at every year. They pull different samples within our programs, within our finance structure. They look at our policy manual. They follow through with how we spot check everything through. They look at quite a number of things when they're on site. This year they did their review virtually, so we'll see. It went well from my point of view. They were able to start early, so they spent a lot longer on it. So I don't know if that was a good thing or not, getting it done in 1 week or letting them extend it out for the whole month. But so this is still just a look at last year. And if we look at the next slide, you can see that there was one issue, what was reported as a cash in through the prior fiscal year when it should have been in this current fiscal year that was under audit. So there was just a small finding for that. They considered it a significant deficiency, which is the lowest level of issue they could find. We actually identified it, but we didn't identify it until they were on site. So we had to fix it. We had to make them aware that we were fixing it. So they had to consider it a deficiency. So we're still, though, a low risk auditee. No issues that came about that for future funding or anything like that. We were able to correct it. Like I said, we identified it and had to fix it. Since they were aware, they had to make it a finding. Otherwise, that's all that I have.
All right, so if we could go to the next slide, and I will introduce myself. My name is Dina Warnes, and I am one of the program managers at CMJTS. And my responsibility is to manage our public assistance programs, which includes our Minnesota Family Investment Program, which is MFIP, our Diversionary Work Program, DWP, our SNAP Employment and Training Program, as well as our WIOA Adult and Dislocated Worker Programs. Next slide, please. I would say it was probably just about a year ago, CMJTS was fortunate enough to be awarded the Pine County MFIP and DWP grant in Pine County. We were very excited to be awarded that contract. And since November of 2019, we have been delivering the MFIP services for Pine County. We do have an office located in Pine City, as Barb had mentioned earlier, as well as an office in Sandstone. That way we're able to serve a broad demographic location with 3 staff. So we have 3 employment specialists who provide those MFIP services, and MFIP consists of food and cash benefits to individuals who apply for public assistance. They may also be eligible for childcare and medical assistance. And the whole focus of MFIP truly is to help families move towards self-sufficiency, whether that be through employment or other financial supports that will help remove them from those MFIP roles. MFIP does have time limits, and there is an expectation that the families we work with will participate in some type of job search or other work-related activities, in that it expects, supports, and rewards work. What I will say right now, with the pandemic in place, the COVID situation, there is a peacetime emergency in place that the governor has implemented that is expected right now to go until at least November 12th of 2020. During the peacetime emergency, our whole world with public assistance has completely turned upside down. With the peacetime emergency in place, kind of everything pauses. There are no time limits right now, essentially, because individuals can be extended once they reach 60 months of lifetime limit. They can essentially continue to receive benefits right now during this pandemic. In addition, the activities that we encourage our participants to be involved in, there's no penalties if there's no follow through right now, which has really changed the way that we case manage public assistance participants. And if you could go to the next slide. So when I say it's changed the way that we manage our caseload or that we work with our participants, our strength-based focus has not changed. So while we're working with our participants, truly, and the employment specialist goal is to complete assessment, whether that be informal through conversation, interview, email, phone, any type of check-in, we consider an assessment because we're kind of determining where the customer is at any given point. We also have several checks along the enrollment process for formal types of assessment. So with all of that, we're identifying what the customer's strengths are, and then we're also identifying where they might have some weaknesses or some areas that they need additional services. So in that case, we can provide them with the supports and the guidance that they need, maybe referrals to other community-based organizations within their community. And then we're focused on job readiness skills. Truly, we want to help individuals get back to work as quickly as possible. And the best way to do so is to help develop those application skills, the resume writing, interviewing. We may even assist with short-term trainings, maybe some vocational training goals, whatever it takes to help that individual become job ready. Next slide, please. We also facilitate the SNAP Employment and Training Program. Currently, SNAP is also being impacted by the peacetime emergency. For time-limited individuals, so for an individual who is what we call an able-bodied adult without dependents, they're time limited. With the peacetime emergency in place, there is no time limits. There had been a waiver for Pine County, and it was supposed to have ended in April. However, with that peacetime emergency in place, the waiver on time limits remains in place. So until that peacetime emergency ends, SNAP recipients in Pine County can continue to receive benefits for as long as they remain eligible, and there are no time limits. Our focus is very similar to when we're working with our MFIP participants. and that we really want to help the individual to identify any skills gaps or address any work history gaps that might be keeping them from quickly returning to employment. Our focus is again on providing them with the resources, the trainings, and the tools that they need to become work ready and get back to work quickly. With CMJTS, we were awarded what the state refers to as a 50-50 grant. And with that 50-50 grant, we can essentially serve any SNAP recipient as long as they're willing to volunteer and work with CMJTS employment specialists. And with that 50-50 grant, for every $1 that CMJTS spends on case management, training expenditures for the client, support services, we're able to bill back to DHS for a 50-cent reimbursement. So it works really well for us. It helps expand our opportunities to serve as many SNAP individuals as are willing to apply with our program and receive those services. Next slide. And then the other programs that I am responsible for include our adult and dislocated worker programs. Eligibility criteria is different depending upon the programming. WIOA adult, essentially, if you are 18 years old and able to work in the United States, there is potential that we can work with job seekers to help them with retraining or job search assistance to get them back to work. With our WIOA adult program, we do have priorities in place. Our focus is truly on serving low-income individuals in the communities and anybody who we assess as what we call low basic skills. So math and reading skills below that 8th grade level, which may be impacting their ability to go back to work. With our WIOA adult program, truly, if they're needing the help, we'll likely find a way to provide them with those services. Our WIOA and state dislocated worker program criteria is based upon whether or not you lost your job due to no fault of your own. And the way that we determine no fault of your own is in collaboration with unemployment insurance. So if unemployment states or deems that the individual is eligible, then we consider them a dislocated worker, and we can provide them with the assistance to either retrain, help them with career planning and career coaching, maybe do some mock interviewing. If they're interested in updating their skills or obtaining new credentials, we can help them with career search, training providers that could meet their training goals. And then any support services that they might need to remove immediate challenges or immediate barriers. An example might be needing car insurance so that they can legally drive themselves to interviews or to training or to work. So truly, our adult and dislocated worker programs are designed to assist individuals in getting back to work and providing them with the tools and resources, again, that they might need in order to do so. Any questions with the information that I've provided?
I'm trying to get off mute here. Okay, here we go. I do have a couple of questions. One is, how many people from Pine County are served, like in a typical month, or are on the program if took a snapshot today?
So are you referring to public assistance programming or just?
Yeah, like when you were talking about the SNAP program, for instance.
Yeah. So what I will say about the SNAP program, our food support program, it's incredibly difficult to engage SNAP recipients, and that is statewide. DHS continues to help with marketing and recruitment. Right now, I don't know that we have a SNAP recipient that we're serving in Pine County. It's a hard population to engage.
Okay. And then the 50/50 program, if you do have somebody involved, where does the other 50% come from?
Us from CMJTS. So
Okay,
we can use matching dollars. So those matching dollars can come from any non-federally funded grant. So if we have maybe, like we have an Otto Bremer grant. So if I'm serving a participant using those Otto Bremer dollars, I can bill that to DHS and they'll reimburse me 50 cents on the dollar. That might be true as well if I have somebody enrolled in state dislocated worker and I co-enroll them in our SNAP program, then any dollars I spend, I can bill back that 50 cents. And then when that 50 cents comes back to the agency, we put it in our SNAP 50/50 cash rules so that we can continue to assist SNAP participants out of that budget.
I think these programs are the most misunderstood by people that stop us on the street or whatever, because they got this mental picture that these people just go get on these programs and they stay there forever, generation after generation, and that's where all their tax dollars are going.
Sure.
And it's really hard to. Becky knows this because she's educated us for years, and someday we might understand it all. But it's really hard when people have this preconceived notion that that's where all. If they didn't have programs like this, their taxes would be zero. In their mind.
Yes, and our focus, like I said, is always work first. So what can we do to build on the strengths of that participant, engage them in work activities to get them back to work? And truly, the average stay on our MFIB caseload is roughly 22 to 24 months. And then the individual has all of their job readiness skills in place. They've eliminated all of their barriers and they're able to get back to work.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can go to the next slide, please. I am Diana Ristamaki, and I oversee the youth and the universal programs. Next slide, please. So in your packet, you should have a youth program chart of eligibility. Right now, youth programs have about 9 different funding streams that we actually can serve youth out of. So it's easier just to kind of give you the service since eligibility is different per the programs that we serve. But overall, we serve youth that are 14 to 24 that have some type of at-risk factor. And that might be a young adult that is low income, homeless, someone who is offender record, disability, parenting, and foster care. Those are kind of our main ones, including school dropouts. Next slide, please. So one of the things that are happening in your area that I really wanted to touch on is our Youth Build program. And this is a partnership that we have with Empower Learning Center in Hinckley. And we have a state youth build grant that we work on for this program. And what this grant does is we serve low-income youth who are at risk of dropping out of school or who have already dropped out of school. And the goal is with this program is to support those youth in getting their high school diploma and GED while working on hands-on activities in the different trades. So these pictures here are some of the activities that we've done. A lot of them have been out actually throughout Pine County. The little fire place thing we have there, that's out in the school forest, and they've done a variety of projects out there, including cleaning some of the trails, building fire pits, building some of the benches that they put out across the different trails there. And then we refurnished a bunch of picnic tables that we had in some other areas for low-income families to enjoy. The other thing we've done this past year is COVID. has kind of changed some of the projects that we've been able to do under Youth Build. So the picture there is we've actually built some plexiglass in some of our locations to serve our customers safely. Other projects that we've kind of done under this, we've done projects with A Place for You in Pine City, the homeless shelter. That was really our focus, the kind of the last time before COVID happened. We built some garden benches where the individuals who are living there can actually build some of their own garden so they can live off of. And then they've done some painting in that area. Next slide, please. So Dina touched base on a little bit about some of the adult program services. So I'm just going to kind of just focus what's a little bit different for youth programming. One of the things that is our biggest component to youth programming is work-based learning. And this is where we actually place youth with an employer to gain work skills. We are the employer of record. So we pay for the youth to be on site. We pay for their wages, workers' comp, and all that. In return, the employer teaches them the skills they need for that specific career field, and then focusing on some of those soft skills. Occupational training. This is where we would actually pay for students to go to school. So whether they're looking at a high demand industry, we can actually help pay for some of their tuition assistance. In prep for that, looking at colleges, researching high demand industries, what does that local market information look like, those types of things, and anything really to do with getting them enrolled into school. And then leadership development is also one of the biggest things that we try to focus on within our youth, and that could be just helping do some different projects within the community, or maybe they're a lead person on some of the projects so that we can develop those leadership skills within the work that they do. Next slide, please. And then dropout prevention. We really work with the schools with some of the youth that are really at risk for dropping out. So that might be giving them certain referrals to help them stay in school, or that might actually be the ES working with them pretty hard on some of those different study skills that they need to keep in school. One of the things that is pretty neat about the youth programs is we can actually give GED stipends to students that are attending ABE. So what that means is we can pay for them to do their hours for their GED. So we can pay $10 an hour for them to be in the classroom to work towards that GED. So sometimes it kind of gives them a little bit of a carrot to kind of continue towards that GED. And Dina's touched on support services a little bit. Financial literacy, this is really important with our youth who are doing work experiences because we're teaching them how to budget, how to open up checking accounts, money management, planning for the future, those types of things. Follow-up services with our WIOA programs. Once a student or youth reaches that self-sufficiency, so whether it's they've obtained their high school diploma and now they're working, or they're in school for their training program, we actually follow youth for 12 months to ensure that they retain their self-sufficiency. Next slide, please. So these are the services that we can provide. We get a lot of funding from different grants that we apply for. One of the things that we can do is under our Minnesota youth programs, we can set aside funds where we can go and serve the general youth population. So we can go in and provide services to kids that don't meet our eligibility criteria. And these are some of the services that we do under those funds. Activities, resume, those soft skills, post-secondary prep, doing some of the local tours to the businesses, career force centers, those types of activities. Slide, please. So for universal services, these are, we have in our northern area would be our Cambridge location. So that's at the Career Force Center there in Cambridge. We have an office there where any can actually come in and get these types of services. So they can walk in, they can use our computers to job search, work on their resumes, anything that is career or job related, they can get assistance on. So some of that might be their interviewing skills, job search, resume development. Our staff will actually help them do some of these things. They can do mock interviews. A lot of times it's directing them to different referrals in our community. We offer some workshops, not anymore since COVID, but hopefully we'll be doing those soon again. And then one of the biggest things that our staff have been working on since COVID is we are not UI, but we do partner with UI, and they really support those calls that are coming in. So they're helping customers navigate the UI system. We can't answer any of the questions in regards to UI, but they're really helping those customers just navigate the online system and the calls that come through. So that's been a very big project for those group because there's been a lot of frustrated and customers coming through. So really they're just being that listening ear for anyone. Any questions for me at all? Okay, thank you.
All right,
Leslie?
yes, the next slide, please. I am Leslie Witowitz. I oversee the Workforce Development Division, and my title is Development Manager. What that means truly is I am the capacity building for our agency. I oversee and do the grant writing, fund development, disability services, and I oversee our business services team. And that is what my focus of the presentation is going to be, is on the business services. Next slide, please. So with our business services, truly, we have 3 business service coordinators. We have Rebecca Perotti, who covers our 5 counties in the north, including Pine County. So some of you probably have met her. I know she has presented to this board before. But she really works with the businesses. She represents us on different committees and really is that boots on the ground, trying to make sure that businesses' needs get met. We help try to connect them with qualified workers, from our youth programs to the seniors that are enrolled in our adult program. But really any job seekers that come to us, we try to help connect them to employment. We also connect employees with training. We have on-the-job training, we have incumbent worker, transitional jobs. We help the youth team find work experience locations and really do what we can to make those connections. We also provide a lot of businesses with resources. With COVID, things have gone virtual. So the HR groups that the staff facilitate have moved to a virtual format, which actually has been very beneficial. It was a platform where the HR personnel came together. They were able to help share how they were navigating all of the COVID criteria, how to be safe with their employees, getting those questions answered. We were able to bring the Department of Labor in and provide virtual workshops so they could answer questions that the employers had. We've also been able to do virtual hiring events. It's a little bit different. We are only able to accommodate 5 employers at a time, but then we work with them to put together a presentation that then they facilitate. Job seekers register ahead of time, and then they can answer questions that these job seekers have about their openings. We also recently did a drive-through job fair that was successful and that we hope to bring out once the weather cooperates again in the spring. Just doing what we can to be safe during this time and help our employers out. Next slide, please. So one of the very popular programs that employers take advantage of is on-the-job training. We are able to work with employers. Of course, it has to be before the employee starts, but we can reimburse up to 50% of the wage of a new hire for a certain length of time. It is often employees don't come to you with all of the skills needed to do the job. So this helps offset that training time. And we do have staff that work with the employee and the employer to make sure if any situations come up, it really helps make it a smooth transition and that they get all the training needed. You do, of course, have to be eligible for funding, and our staff work to fill out and make sure that it is an appropriate and that we can do the OJT paperwork. Next slide, please. And then something that we've been able to do for, I think, the last 4 years through our Workforce Investment Act and Opportunity Funding is the Incumbent Worker Training Program. So this is where the business actually applies for funding to upskill and provide advanced opportunities for their existing staff. So this is not a new hire. If they have a cohort, so a group of people getting training, at least half of them have to have been with the company for 6 months or longer. We, CMJTS, through our funding applications, we allow up to $25,000 to go towards an incumbent worker application. Of course, not every business needs that, and there is a match requirement based on the size of the business. But truly, it really helps business become more financially stable. Oftentimes it's a lean training or something that is going to help enhance in their competitiveness in the marketplace. We currently have 2 incumbent worker projects going in Pine County that both have asked for the max available and $25,000. One is At Scott Manufacturing and the other is Deka Corporation. They are both going well. The employees are getting trained, they are learning a lot of skills, and ideally, I believe both projects put that there would be promotional opportunities for those that participate, as well as wage increases, which is huge for our project. And I think that's really all I have. Any questions for me? Oh, and here's some pictures of our recent drive-through job fair event that happened in Monticello. And as you can see, of course, the week we had it scheduled, we were not having this beautiful weather right now. It snowed pretty much almost the entire time frame of our drive-through event. So we were bundled up but you know, we were safe and people got the information they wanted. We had 52 employers provide us with information. We put together in bags. We also had TRICAP and Wright County Community Action gave us information so that they could also take advantage of those resources as well. And I think that's it for my slides.
Is there any questions of my staff? I did actually look up, every Monday I look up the COVID-19 dashboard and was really taken back because what I saw was a month ago, 4 weeks ago, Pine County was like at 300 positive cases and you're well over you're over 626 this as of yesterday. So that's huge. That's a huge increase. So please stay safe and be careful out there. We're all doing our best to keep everyone safe, our staff, our community, our clients, our businesses. So if there's any questions, we would, my staff would be more than happy to answer them.
But Barb, I have a question. And if you took a snapshot today, how many people in Pine County are being served by your organization, roughly?
Boy, that's one thing I'd have to have all of my staff answer because we have so many programs and services.
Right.
I can always get back to you with the exact number, but Dina, Diana, do you have any numbers, Leslie, right off the bat, because normally we have to have numbers. But I can get back to you on that, Steve,
Okay.
too.
I can't give you specifics across the programs. I know just in youth build there was 18 kids. So
The what now?
I said I would have to give you numbers across all of our youth programs, but I know just with youth build itself there was 18 kids in that program.
Okay, okay.
We have so many different services, programs and services. We have to count them all up.
Yep.
We'll send you that number.
It is, it's a huge organization that you have, but we focus down on what is Pine County
Right.
impact, and it's just kind of nice to know that number when somebody starts going off about something.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
this is Dina. I can tell you based on our most recent report in Pine County for AMFIP recipients, we had 98 enrolled customers.
Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, we normally bring those numbers, and I just totally missed that this time, so I apologize. But we do have quite a number in this area, so we'll try to put that together and send it to you.
Thank you much.
Mr. Chair, I know with the incumbent worker, we have approximately 35 individuals that are being served through that program.
That's an awesome program, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yep. If we have no other questions, we'll move on to the Nemadji Watershed One Plan Resolution. Who's going to present that?
Mr. Chair, I can do that. Or unless Caleb, go ahead, Caleb.
Either way, whatever you would like. So, the last action the county board took on the Nemadji One Watershed One Plan was to give Matt Ludwig the support to go ahead and submit the plan for 60-day review. That process occurred, and state agencies then kind of comment on the plan and providing direction. But they also worked very closely in the plan development. So that process went really well. They did not have any significant comments. They just kind of commended the policy committee for their work on the plan. So at this point, we have a resolution 22-72 where we are considering to approve submission of the plan to the Board of Water and Soil Resources. This is kind of the final submission. And then contingent upon recommendation of the plan approved by Bowser, the Pine County Board would adopt the plan and begin implementation of the plan for those areas within the Nemadji watershed. So this would replace the county water plan. I've got a skill saw running outside my window. I'm sorry if you can't hear me. So yeah, this will replace that portion of Pine County water plan as well. Any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Commissioner Ludwig, I will move resolution 2020-72.
All right, thank you. Anybody wish to second that?
Moore will second.
So we got a motion by Ludwig, seconded by Moore to approve resolution 2020-72 in support of the Nemadji Watershed One Plan project. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
District 4, Commissioner McRae.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
Thank you.
That passes. And Caleb, I think we will have the wording for a resolution for the Lower St. Croix plan implementation. Will that be ready for the next meeting?
I don't know if it would be quite the next meeting. I think it was before about mid-December is when they wanted to have it.
Yeah, we need it back by mid-December, so we got 2 meetings to get it ready. So we don't want to be the holdup in the game. So if you help me follow that along, we'll get it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Labor negotiation update.
Mr. Chair, members of the board. So we had previously reported on these 2 tentative agreements, the one with the courthouse unit and the other with the Health and Human Services unit. These tentative agreements have now been approved by the membership and are ready for board approval.
Okay, board, we're looking for a motion and a second.
Moore will move that.
Chafee, second.
By Moore, second by Chafee, to approve the agreements for Health and Human Services and Courthouse Unit. That's me. Any discussion?
Just a comment, Mr. Chair. Good work, you guys.
I would second that comment. If no other questions are, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
Sure. District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Who'd you call?
You.
Aye. I was reading, sorry.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Chafee.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner McRae.
Aye.
2.
All right. 2021 budget update.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, no action is required today. This is just a check-in to let you know that we do have what we think is a balanced budget based on the parameters set by the county board. And here is an overview that just shows by fund the 2021 proposed budget compared to the 2020 budget. And so the total budget is increasing about 5.5%. Most of that increase is in highway, and we know that we're on a kind of a biannual cycle with the highway where they have a big year and then a smaller year and then a big year. And so next year is a bigger year for highway. Health and Human Services is virtually flat. And then the general fund is increasing a little bit, about almost 4%. And so this is just a big picture overview. This next slide is the corrected information that was not in the county board packet. It shows the levy by fund. And so overall, the 3% levy is $580,000. And it's distributed, as you can see, with some decreases in the technology equipment and the building fund. And we were able to work in some projects into our refunding that we just did. And so the levy in these areas is going down, but the projects are continuing. And then the Health and Human Services levy is flat. Highway levy is increasing 50,000. And then the rest of it is really the general fund, which is increasing about $656,000. And so if you have thoughts or any additional changes or considerations you want, we can make those between now and December 3rd at the Truth and Taxation meeting. And thinking or in reviewing Sorry about that. In looking at how we got from a preliminary budget of about $1.5 million deficit to a budget that balances with a 3% levy, on those labor agreements we just approved, those wages were a little bit less than we had budgeted. And so countywide, that saved about $150,000. We saved about $100,000 on the recycling contract. And we have a rebate from the East Central Solid Waste Commission of $195,000. And of course, adding the 3% levy into that closed the gap a little bit. And then we're also going to be backfilling with some of the CARES Act funds to make the budget work.
Thank you. Anybody got any comments? I like it. I think we're on track, David.
So we will.
Thanks for the good work to you and all the departments.
Yeah, there are a lot of number crunchers working hard to make the budget come out in a way that
we know that and appreciate that. It's you people. I'm looking at several of you faces right now on my screen, and it doesn't happen by accident. It happens with a lot of tough decisions that have to be made. So we appreciate that.
And because we know we're a service organization and about 70% of our budget is personnel, the budget as presented funds all of the positions that we have authorized, with the exception of a child protection social worker, which is left vacant in the HHS budget. And that's really being driven by the caseload and the amount of work that has to be done. And Becky will want to revisit that when the numbers, require that.
Right. Well, thank you. We will move on to a coronavirus response update. Sam, I see we had bad news yesterday. We had a death.
We did. So, hello everybody. Sam Lowe, Public Health Director. So I can start with that. We did have our first death in the county yesterday. It was publicly posted yesterday. The death was a couple days prior. It was an individual between 60 and 64. And that is pretty much all the information we have right now. So any death is interviewed, the family is interviewed by MDH specifically. They have a team that works specifically with any family member with a death. So we don't specifically handle them, but we just have it reported and then we understand like what's happening and all that. So I don't actually have a lot of information about that right now, other than the fact that it happened. So, which is unfortunate. We made it quite a while before our first one, so that's good. But other tidbits, I've got quite a bit of different oddball things. So our cases right now are up to 643 cases total. A fun little data point that I just figured out. So if you take out our 2 outbreaks that were at the prison, the 2 prisons that we had, 2 big outbreaks, a couple months apart, if you take those out and just look at community transmission, if you added up every case we had from our first case in April through the end of September, you would still be 3 cases short of how many cases we had in October alone. So just showing that exponential growth we're kind of seeing into October and still seeing here as we go into November. It's been quite a jump lately. So we're managing that with our case investigation and everything, but we're feeling the sudden increases. We're feeling them. And those cases are not in FCI. That basically, I think we had 1 or 2 over the past couple weeks. So every other case that we are posting is community spread. So we're seeing now, we just had 2 different long-term care facilities not announce, but tell us that they had cases. So that's concerning because we've made it a really long time without having any cases at all in our long-term care facilities. So now we have 2 in the same week. So we're supporting them best we can, getting them connected to resources at DHS and MDH so they feel supported and getting all that figured out. Our schools are currently in hybrid models across the board. That is likely to change here at some point in the future, just seeing the case trends continue to increase. So we've got meetings with the schools regularly to talk through what we're seeing in the schools, in the community, what the data is looking like. So we'll see where we go there, because the numbers are going up. If we look at the state level, we're hitting consistently now 3,000 plus cases. For a long time, we were sitting around 1,000 to 1,500 cases. So it's quite an increase. And we're doing a good job of testing, but our test positivity rate continues to go up. So we were hovering around 6 for a while. Now we're up to 9, going up from there. So that's something we're watching really closely. If you look at Wisconsin, for example, that they're at like 28% to 30% test positivity rate, which is really high. So that's one of the data points they're watching as they consider the dial back measures and what will happen there. We're also seeing hospitalizations increase, which is not surprising. When you see an increase in cases, you see the ripple effect of an increase in hospitalizations. We're well over the previous peak that we were at in May. So the ICU usage is not seeing quite the increase that we were seeing in May, though. So that's good. And nationally, just going even bigger picture, we are heading solidly towards a third peak that looks to be significantly worse than the first 2 peaks, especially considering the timing of it going into winter where it's cold, people are inside, it's prime respiratory illness season anyway. Not unlike the 1918 pandemic, where you saw a first wave in the spring, calm down in the summer, and then the massive wave of cases for the 1918 pandemic was in the fall and the winter. So we've seen this before. We were hoping it wouldn't happen, but people are not entirely surprised that it is happening. We're just not set up very well to actually, people are tired of it. People don't want to follow the rules anymore because they're just tired. So it's a bad place to be mentally going into the amount of cases we're seeing and just everything that's happening. So it's been a stressful few weeks. I think it's going to get less stressful here over the next couple weeks. So we're a little concerned in the public health world. Questions? I know that was a lot of data.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for your work with the schools. I know they appreciate it. I hear that often. So thank you.
Yep.
We'll move on to CARES Act funding update.
So this spreadsheet that I am sharing is the same info that was in the packet, but just want to highlight that we have been, I think, successful so far at a lot. If you look on the right-hand side of the page, there's a lot of zeros. Some of those might have a little bit of residual left once we get the final payments, but for the most part, we have been able to implement a lot of the projects that we've identified. The business and nonprofit assistance programs are continuing to accept applications. Don Hickman at the Initiative Foundation is reviewing them on a rolling basis, and those close on the 5th of November. Other important dates to look forward to: November 15th is the city and township deadline, so any money not spent by the cities and township by November 15th will roll to the county, and then the county has until December 1st to spend the money. And our plan is We will try to backfill as many county costs as are eligible with those funds. And then any remaining funds will coordinate with the school districts to make sure that we have provided as much funding to them as they have eligible expenses for. And then our last county board meeting before that December 1st deadline is going to be November 17th. And so we'll provide an update on the 17th as well. And then unless there's some change in the federal legislation, we will wrap up the program as of December 1st.
Any questions on that? The timelines have been, you guys have done a great job, David, of getting things turned around quickly. And it's always hard with any government program, it seems like, to do. But I commend you for doing that. I have not seen a list for a while of businesses affected or how that application, that process. Do we have a good warm fuzzy feeling that we have really touched the businesses that thought they needed help?
I want to, I'm confident we have tried, right? We have gotten the word out. We coordinated with Becky Schuler at the Pine City Area Chamber of Commerce to do outreach. And then she also did some countywide outreach. And so, there may be some businesses that were eligible that got missed. But if you do know of any, or have anyone in mind, if you want to make sure that they're aware and had an opportunity to apply, we're open for applications until the 5th. So there are still a couple of days that they could get an application in.
Mr. Chair, I got a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
So I have been contacted by at least 2 businesses that have received funding. Very, very happy. One, the business owner actually hugged and was crying and said it couldn't have came at a better time. So they just got funded. Must have been just last week because that's when they were in and talking to me. And I had reached out to a few nonprofits that do a lot of good work in the area for fundraising. They had all got funded as well. So that's just what I'm hearing a little bit on the street. Nothing but positive. So thanks to Don and that group. They've done an amazing job, and David and everybody at the county as well. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think pulling Don Hickman and the Initiative Foundation in was really fortunate for us because he has put in a significant amount of time really helping businesses qualify for as much reimbursement as they can.
Yes, that was a good move. So appreciate it. And thanks for the story, Josh. Those kind of things help you make your job kind of worthwhile, So we will move on to commissioner updates. Soil and water. Any news from them?
That was, thank you, Mr. Chair Ludwig. That was an emergency meeting called, I reported at the last board meeting that they had some issues or concerns of the audit that happened. So they had an emergency meeting and Bowser and personnel were there, and they have to extend the grant, and so they had to have a meeting to do that, and they have to work with Bowser to extend the grant, but they have to figure out, and I think they have a plan, they have it identified, it's just in their billable rates. So I think they're gonna be able to work through it. I'll keep you posted on that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Arrowhead Counties was canceled. Badgie, one watershed, did we take care of that one?
No, I got comment there on the
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so you did the public, we had a meeting after that. And,
Okay.
and I I want to add something to what Caleb, I think he touched on, it was the Bowser staff were in on the public hearing and at that part, and this was a quote, that the document that was put forward to them for the review and that we had the public hearing on, they just says the quote was very well done. And I think a lot of that has to go back to the steering committee with Caleb, and that make it kind of easy for the policy committee to make the decisions, and the public input also. But so we had contingency funds left over from going through that initial process, which you're familiar with, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
So we had about $12,500. So what we approved was to do, create lake management plans for the following lakes. Net Lake, which is in Pine County, then Chubb Lake, Hay Lake, Lac La Belle Lake, and Manoa Lakes. That's going to cost $6,500. And then they're gonna contract with a MAPS for a forest management plan inserts. And they're gonna prioritize parcels that'll be for protection in those upper watersheds on some of those rivers. And so it worked out really well to have that added to the plan. Other than that, it was just a general meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. AMC District 1 fall meeting, we met on Zoom, and it went well. It's always good to hear from our colleagues around Northeast Minnesota and find out that really we're doing quite well in a lot of fronts, I think. Matt was there. Did you want to say a few words, Matt, about the meeting?
Yeah, I'll just, the whole purpose of the meeting was, it's such a great group from District 1, but we were trying to establish priorities in the 5 groups, which is environmental and natural resources. I think every commissioner sits on these committees, general government, health and human services, public safety, and then the transportation and infrastructure. So we were voting on the priorities to move on to the big board at AMC to put on the platform. And for my committee, I think I spoke to it last time, we had EMS funding for emergency services for out in rural for training first responders. And then the 911 tax to support the 911 system, and the county probation and the CPO funding at a 50-50 of the state partnership.
And I sit on the transportation committee meeting, and of course, the bonding bill is a big thing for transportation, and it's a big thing for Pine County because we get some bridge bonding money, and this last bonding bill that they just passed in the 5th special session, I think we talked about that already. We do have money out of that bonding bill for an extension of the trail that was begun a couple of years ago that will extend up past Debbie Gray's house, but no, it will go to the Snake River Bridge on the east side of Cross Lake. So that was good news.
Mr. Chair, can I make one more comment on the AMC district meeting? So as Commissioner Ludwig indicated, these priorities that were voted on get carried forward. Those policy committee meetings are in 2 weeks on the 16th and 17th of November. And so all of you should have a policy committee that you're assigned to, and those meetings are on the 16th and 17th. And so if you want to plan on attending those, that's where some of these priorities are hashed out a little more.
And thanks, David, because some of the priorities we have in Pine County and in Northeast Minnesota are not on anybody's radar around the rest of the state.
Right.
PILT being one of them. You know, Brown County has no PILT payments, so they don't even know what PILT is. So we need to be at those meetings to make our voice heard so it can get on the AMC platform, because it does make a huge difference.
The other thing that's concerning in the transportation committee is, of course, the revenue stream is not, although it's coming back, it's not what it was. And so, because the gas tax collection went completely in the tubes in June, April, May, June. In July, it started picking up a little bit, but it's still not going to generate the amount of money that's needed to maintain our road system. So anyway, that's where that is.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
I know it was a general consensus of the group on that meeting that the county program aid formula would be protected on the gains too. And then I think there was one more thing. Was it the waivers?
Yep. HHS waivers.
Yeah, they're staying very high.
Yeah. Huge priority. Okay, Lower St. Croix Policy Committee. Anything on that?
You talking Snake River or Lower St. Croix?
Yes, Snake River Watershed
Okay,
Management. Sorry.
Yeah, nope, not a problem.
There's a weird echo.
We hadn't had a meeting, I think, since January or February or something like that. So we finally had another meeting. Just talked a little bit about budget next year. Talked a little bit about, we had a few projects we did fund and got a few things done there. Then to piggyback, a little bit later, we had Snake River One Watershed One Plan meeting. And that was, we have our I can't think now, the person that's helping facilitate the One Watershed One Plan discussion. So she was there and we talked a lot about, priorities and stuff like that going forward. So that was a good meeting, and but that was about it.
I'll unmute myself. Thanks, Josh. Lower St. Croix Policy Committee. We have our final plan that will be coming to the board that I spoke with Caleb about. And so I don't know if anything's ever the final plan, but the plan that will launch us into the next phase of implementation phase of One Watershed, One Plan. I think that group is going to always struggle because of the makeup. It's got a lot of watershed district people on it, and county commissioners are really in the minority on that board. So anyway, it's interesting. I think we're in pretty good shape as far as being assessed anything. East Central Regional Development Commission.
Yeah, mine there. I was running a little late there, but when I did try to get in, I don't think the host saw me because I sat there for a while. He never let me in the meeting, so I just kind of shut it down, and so I totally missed that one, I guess.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Technology and NLX was canceled. Central Minnesota EMS.
Yes, I'll be quick, Mr. Chair. Yes, we had a meeting, and the highlights are the opioid grant was renewed. It ended September 30th, and there's increased dollars in that for the naloxone, those treatments that are going out. The final shipment of those super soaker sterilizers for ambulance and stuff, those are in and they're going to be distributed. And then I think another highlight I really want to touch on is the Dr. Mari Thomas, who is the medical director for this of the region. She gave a presentation, which I sent to David, a slideshow that if you guys are interested, you can get it from him. But she brought up a discussion that took place at their big meeting, and it was the rural areas are using certified ambulance drivers when it gets busy. And it was brought to their attention, you know, I don't know who or why, but it's always been covered under the emergency statutes, you know, where you have to get things done, but they're worried about that happening more and more, so that I think for us, it becomes more important to be able to train these first responders out there early, so if they're up to at least at a first responder level, so they can jump and drive if everybody else is busy. You know, it happens on those multiple car crashes with lots of victims, and sometimes a fireman drives the ambulance or whoever, you know, that's not certified. So that was a big discussion.
Well, thanks for taking part in those discussions, Matt, because I don't think if you live from a bigger community, you don't understand what we have going on in Pine County. These firefighters and EMS people that live alongside of a freeway, how many calls that they get on and how stressed out they get because they you know, especially during the day, if there's something bad going on the freeway, they just don't have enough people.
All right.
They you know, they're working out of town or whatever. Anyway, I went to the township officers meeting whenever that was, Saturday ago. Anyway, they did a very nice job. They had it in the Hinckley Community Center. I wasn't going to go, but then Glenn sent me a picture of the setup, and they had the chairs about 10, 15 feet apart. Everybody wore a mask. I thought Jeff and Reese were there and spoke, and Mindy, our vet service officers, spoke. So it was, I think the county was well represented, and appreciate Reese being there and Jeff and Mindy. And so I think it went well. Anyway, no big controversies that I remember. You, Reese? I don't think it was pretty mundane. I know one thing for me, when people are in person in a large setting like that and they're wearing a mask, it's really hard for me to hear. It's really hard for me. It is. It's just, I'd much rather be in a situation like this. I can hear everybody really well. But it's hard for me in a large room where a fan is running or something to hear. Anyway, we've got upcoming meetings.
And Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I can clarify when the canvassing board is. It is Thursday, November 12th. So November 12th is the canvassing board.
That's what I had on my calendar.
So there's not one on the 6th?
No, and the confusion came, originally it was the 6th, and then there was the consent decree that extended the absentee ballot counting and for 10 days. And so then it was moved to the 12th. And so now it is the 12th. It's going to be the 12th.
Okay.
Nothing on the 6th.
All right. That's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure. I was sure we didn't have two canvassing boards. Anyway, thanks. You guys are doing a great job showing up at the meetings that we need to be at for representing our counties, and good luck to the people that are on the ballot today. I think when you start out the day and half the people in the county have already voted, you can pretty much assume that we're going to have probably the largest voter turnout Pine County's ever seen. So I had voted early. Becky ran over to the town hall at 8 o'clock and said somebody coming out the door said, you better hurry up before a line forms again, because from 7 to 8, the line was out the door into the parking lot. So I'm assuming our township always has 70-some% voter turnout, that we will probably exceed that. Anyway, have a good day. If there's no other business that needs to come before the board, I will declare the meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And Debbie Gray, can I sign tomorrow morning or do you want them to done today?
Tomorrow morning is fine, Steve. If you're okay with, I'm not sure if Dave was going to be in the office tomorrow. He typically signs after you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll plan to sign this afternoon though. And then Steve can sign whatever.
It's just selfishness, Debbie. I'm looking at the sunshine outside and I want to get out there really bad.
All right, Steve. Well, then
Okay.
tomorrow morning?
Yep.
Okay. We'll
Okay.
see you then.
Thank you. Yep.
Mhm. Bye.